Welcome to the PowerConnect webinar, brought to you by the BA Lab.
Welcome everybody to the BA Power Connect. Today we are delving into how data has the power to transform businesses across different industries and roles. I am Zilondile, and co-hosting with me today is Arietha Fraser. Avi the BA will be leading us from the back today. We are so excited to have you guys join us today as we explore the incredible potential of how data analytics is shaping the future. We're also so thrilled and honored to welcome our guest, Liana Teteria. Liana is the owner and founder of LPJ Financial Services, specializing in asset management and foreign services. She also leads LPJ Analytics, which focuses on business data analysis, strategy planning, and coaching. She holds a master's degree in a solid state physics and a higher education diploma, along with advanced qualifications in data analytics, data science, business analysis, Python, SQL, Excel, Power BI, Tableau, machine learning, and cloud computing. With over two decades, guys, of experience in financial planning, analysis, and strategic development, Liana is passionate about transforming complex data into actionable insights to empower businesses and individuals. She is also dedicated to skills development and collaborates with academic institutions to share knowledge and equip students with expertise in data driven decision making. So she is big in learning, she is big in teaching, and she's very passionate about what she does. Welcome, Liana, and thank you for joining us.
Thank you. Nice to be here.
Awesome stuff. You know, we always speak about how data is the new gold, and we cannot ignore actually that data in analytics enables businesses to transform raw data into actionable insights, enhancing decision making and driving strategic growth. And just by speaking about data analytics, maybe just to start there, from your perspective, what is data analytics, just to set the tone?
Okay. Like you say, to set the tone. Data analysis is a technique. You're analyzing data. So let's look at data analytics. I think that's the buzzword. The rest is actually techniques and languages and. And for the one and only time, I'm going to read and explain from a theoretical point. Data analytics have got 4 components. The main ones are descriptive analytics, what happened, diagnostic analytics, why did it happen, predictive analytics, what is likely to happen, prescriptive analytics, what should we do about it? Now, I cannot remember that, so I always simplify things. Plus, I also work with people in different industries, and from startups, independent consultants, sometimes even your larger companies. So I like to simplify by saying, think about data analytics as, they call it the data pyramid. You start with data, which is your raw data. Now that could be qualitative or quantitative. So apples, pears, or how many apples. So it's got quantity or it's got quality. Now, once you get and you've gathered your data, you need to clean it. You need to prepare it. Then you move up into information. That information then gets analyzed and you get to the knowledge portion of your pyramid. when you take that knowledge and you turn it into a story, then you've got wisdom. And with wisdom, you can plan, you can make decisions. Now, how do I approach this? Very simple. And that is, and I'm talking physically anything. Who, what, where, why, when, and how. And how is your strategy? But first, you've got to answer those first 5 items: who, what, where, why, when. Then you can actually address the how. So during the summit, one of the guest speakers said, you've got your current state. Sometimes you know what it is, sometimes you don't. You've got to determine what it is. And you've got your future state, and you've got to bridge that gap. And that is what data analytics is to analyze, determine, confirm, and then bridge the gap.
Yeah.
So that, I think that anybody can understand, and guess what? I can remember that.
I like that. Speaking of what I can remember as well is how you broke down the types of data analytics there is in terms of the behavioral, the predictive, and whatnot. I think just on that, maybe thinking about companies and how they use the behavioral analytics to understand the customer habits to improve marketing strategies. What would your views just on that be in terms of understanding the customers? Because we see it in our e-commerces, we see it on TikTok, mostly there, how you just go in, see recommendations and all of that. So yeah, I just want to hear your views on that.
I I might not be the right person to ask. I do find that your smaller business pay more attention to feedback from customers. To me, a customer is the person on the street, the end buyer, if I can call it that. Your bigger businesses don't really take the customers' likes and dislikes into consideration. I can't remember that I've ever had a corporate asking me for my opinion. But let me add a big but. I think and I hope that things are starting to change, and that there's more attention being given to the end user or the end buyer. I think it's starting to happen, especially I think in retail. Financial services, not so much, but in retail, yes. I think that the buyer is they're starting to look at the opinions of the buyers.
And I think, yeah, that the for me personally, I think any solution, whether it's data or however we predict the data, the customer, the human has to always be centric to all those things, just bringing in, yeah, that little touch and all of that. And I think some of the challenges that customers actually or businesses have is that they the strategic part of things is they don't really consider the customer. And that's just one of the challenges that I can think of. But what are some of the most challenges that businesses have when it comes to data analytics beyond maybe that?
Quality of data. It is, I don't think I've ever seen any data being pulled from anywhere, obtained from anywhere, that is clean. The data quality is really not good, and it doesn't matter the size of the company. And then I think another challenge is access to data.
Yep.
And where is the data stored? I had a conversation this afternoon, and they were talking about different departments and different sections. And I said, stop, right there. It's time that we start looking at the whole. It's not about, it's not, if you're looking at a house, it's not about the foundation or the plumbing alone. You need all of that to build the house. So how come the minute the company goes bigger, you start working in isolation? I call it silos.
Yeah.
And I mean, your receptionist also needs to know where the company is planning to go.
Yeah, actually.
And then buy in. I think buy in from top management. I think buy in, and the only way to overcome that is to show. You know, they say a picture tells 1,000 words or 1,000 stories. Show it, prove it.
Yes, I know you wanted to jump in there.
So, yeah, so actually, when Liana mentioned now about the access to the data, something that popped into my head is the existence of the data being recorded. I know from historical experience and all of that, it wasn't something, because I don't think we really foresaw, is that a word? That data is going to play this big of a role in the future, and we never recorded all the information that we required, and now we come to a point where we kind of need that data and it's not there.
Okay, I like to use the example of a municipality. And it can actually apply to any company, maybe not small, but bigger. You've got a call center. How can they more efficiently use that data that comes out of the call center? Pass it on not only to maintenance and to the technicians, but actually, is it being used? That's a question I'm asking. Is it being used by, for example, the city planners? And that's what I mean by silos. I spoke with a large retailer, a branch, the one day, and I said, can you tell me which product, where on the shelf, sells best, what time of day and week? And that information is available, but it's not being used. So a lot of the time it's interpretation and application. And yes, they record calls at call centers. I think all they do is keep it for backup purposes, or in case there's a query or a complaint. Do they actually analyze it to get a picture? So I keep on coming back to a picture. By the way, I've got a question for everybody, and I don't have the answer.
That's good.
Think about this. When we started learning to read, what did we have? We had storybooks, a picture, and the words. So whatever words we're reading, we're looking at the picture. And then as we grow older, it became only books with words. Guess what? Today, we're moving back to the picture.
And you know, the picture is so important as well, because I think, to your point, operating in silos, it can't really be a thing, because today I was having a conversation with a friend of mine on APIs and how developers would just do like big APIs and show and tell how great their code is, but essentially it's like you want to build a car so that someone can buy the car, drive it for its full functionality, but you are saying, I've made this little wheel that is so awesome because in my team, that's what we need to focus on. How the body, how the engine and everything else has to fit in is not your problem. And that's where we are missing out on the bigger picture, which sort of touches to that. And just thinking of that, there's emerging trends, there's emerging technologies. Everybody wants to jump on the next technology, show and tell on it and whatnot. So my question just on those is, how can businesses leverage either AI-driven analytics or any other technologies that emerge for smarter decision making? Obviously, being mindful that it's for the bigger picture.
Once again, I've got very specific views on AI. To me, it's a tool. It's like having a research assistant or an assistant. AI can play a role in typically data collection. A mistake people make is when they in an ethical way, in a safe way, share, say, a spreadsheet. To me, it's extremely important that you need to say to whichever large language model you use, let's just call it a model, you need to say to it, read, clean, and format. Why am I saying it? Let's move to Excel. If we're sitting there with a column full of names, and let's use Rita as the example. If I'm going to have, for some whatever reason, finger trouble, I'm going to have the name Rita, and I'm also going to have, say, a space in front of her name. That's two different Ritas. It's not the same Rita. And it doesn't matter what we're talking about. I use the example of Excel because it's easy to visualize the column with names. And you cannot always, by looking at it, see it. So you've got to check those things. Now, that is where AI can assist, provided you prompt it correctly. And I always say, tell me what you see. Explain to me the data. Then I will say, what insights can you derive?
Yeah. So
some people say you need to say to artificial intelligence, you are whatever, a data analyst. I find personally for me, it works better to say, I am a data analyst, than I need you to hold my hand. But I think that's a personal experience and choice. But the bottom line is you can get insights, but those insights cannot be interpreted. So you can still you can get the picture even, but you've still got to be able to understand that picture and interpret it. And what does it mean?
Yeah.
So AI to me, look, I've recently, for anybody in financial services, today was D-Day for uploading, and you know what, I don't really know what it stands for, but it's a RMCP. It's some risk management plan. I don't know what these abbreviations are. It's a something plan, okay, but it's got to do with risk, and it's got to do with money laundering, FIC and FICA, and all sorts of things. And you know what? I actually sanitized mine, and I had a guideline because we asked FIC for what are the elements to look for, and they actually shared it. And I then said, and I used ChatGPT, So I sanitized mine, so all names and license numbers removed. And I said to ChatGPT, compare. First I said, tell me what this one says, tell me now that, then compare it. So then I took away what it said, I did changes, then I said, okay, compare again. And then I said, now write the whole thing. And the format was actually better than mine. So
it has its benefits.
Yeah.
yes. And anyway, and then I did the final check. And that's when I said, okay, compliance officer check. She said, okay, and that's when we uploaded. So, you know, it's those type of things, policies. But it's got to be, it can't be confidential information. You've got to keep ethics and privacy always keep it into consideration.
And I agree with that, because I think there's another thing of the biasness of the responses you get and the prompts. I think you've also touched on it, that you use, because as much as it's a tool, it's important to plug in the right prompts to get the right outputs, because it's an in and out a discussion. And then the other thing is, whatever you put in is whatever you're going to get out. But the big thing is the ethics, the governance. And what are the biggest risks of not having that data governance strategy in businesses?
It's got to do with well, we've got the POPIA Act, or POPI Act. Again, a lot of abbreviations. We've got that, and overseas you've got similar types of legislation. So it always boils down to sensitive information, confidential. If you're going to use client data, you better ask permission. They need to give their, I would say, written permission. These call centers just calling you, my best lately, I say to them, are you aware of the POPI Act? And then they would say yes or no. Then I say, you're in contravention, because where did you get my details from? And then they normally put down. So that's what I found to be the easiest way of getting rid of them.
Do you ever get the call again, Liana, once you brought up POPIA Act? Because I've tried it, and for some reason the call still happens.
Well, the next step is to say, who are you, what's your name, and which company you calling from again? Can I please have your switchboard number? They will definitely vanish.
You are in breach. I see Avi has joined us. He's here to remind us that we have the symposium coming up. So he's just going to play us a nice clip just to get the details in play as well.
Business analysis is evolving. Are you ready to elevate your career, innovate with new ideas, and lead with confidence? Join us on the 12th of April 2025 at the prestigious NH Hotel in Sandton for the BA Symposium, a one-day conference designed to inspire, empower, and connect business analysts like you. Get ready for an unforgettable experience featuring industry thought leaders, sharing insight that will redefine the future of business analysis. Network with fellow professionals, gain practical insights, and take your career to the next level. All for just $1499. Seats are limited, so secure your spot today. Visit theBALab.com to register. Elevate, innovate, lead. The time is now. See you at the BA Symposium 2025.
I hope you have registered yet. We cannot wait to host you for such a housed field event. Maybe just before we continue as well, I've seen a couple of comments coming up. I don't know at what point of the conversation we had that. And one of it is that the things are definitely changing or starting to change because corporates are already leveraging voiceovers of clients, data for data analytics to gain deeper insights into customer behavior, to optimize the customer experience and make data-driven decisions. So yeah, that is starting to become a thing. And I agree with you, Dorothy, that ultimately it does improve customer satisfaction, loyalty, and all of that, given that we have the right data. And just another one from Dorothy as well in terms of the call centers is that having worked in a call center herself, she agrees 100%. Organizations do not utilize the calls to uncover valuable insights, especially to measure or study the client's sentiment. It's mainly used for compliance and QA purposes or backup. And yeah, I think that's rich data. It can help draw a lot of insights for businesses as well. So just back on our discussions now regarding the data ethics and the data governance. I heard you mention the likes of privacy laws, your POPIA and whatnot. What are your views? Well, I'm going to go back to AI. But what are your views, Liana, about me as a user prompting AI and adding personal information of either clients and now from a business perspective as well? So I just put my business people's or clients onto AI as a prompt for whatever reason.
You shouldn't. There should be. You should have a big banner over your computer and say, "Don't share any information. Sanitize." No, that to me is one of the biggest dangers. Is what do people see as confidential information and what not? If you want to analyze something, ChatGPT, I use it all the time to create static data sets. Interestingly, I was busy preparing for a data analytics course or an applied data analysis course, and I couldn't manage something just to realize the numbering was American, because they use a full stop where we use a comma. So now I don't know what ChatGPT would have said about it, but what I'm saying is you can give it, really, there is no reason why you should put sensitive information. Share it, but remember you've got Copilot. If you've got the paid version, you can choose between work and I think it says web or something like that. If you click on work, it actually has got access to everything that's on your SharePoint, on your OneDrive. As a matter of fact, it won't work unless the documents information is on OneDrive. Now, in that way, it is in the protected environment of your server. Then it's okay. But no, then you can't go and say to Bob, I call it Bob, you can't say to Bob, go and search and tell me what the economy is like. So, yeah. But strictly speaking, you can tell the LLM what your data is looking like. And it takes just a little bit of effort. And I think if people are sharing sensitive information, they're actually lazy. Because if I've got 50 columns to type it all out, it's a big job.
Yeah.
And when operating in different countries.
The other thing about AI, I think you've asked it and I didn't answer it. Sometimes you can ask the same question twice and you get different answers. And I also find that in inverted commas or punctuation marks, it becomes stupid. Like for me, it's like 4 or 5 o'clock on a Saturday afternoon. I don't know if it's just so busy, but it actually ignores me sometimes. So yes, you have to check the outputs.
Yeah, don't be lazy, basically. Avi, you had a question or something
Yeah,
to
I was
add?
saying, I feel like there's an over reliance with AI, especially that people use it so much that there isn't any personal touch to anything. You use it for everything, and Liana was saying that she mentioned that in different countries there are different laws that govern the way things are done, and when you move to the US or you have clients elsewhere and you are using AI, it's a bit tough to relate it to the laws, let's say the Poppy Act. Somebody in the US won't be able to understand what acts protect the personal information of the clients that we have here. So it's very important for us to do our background research and not just have an over-reliance, because there's a reason why we employ people and not necessarily a chat GPT to come and do the work for us. And I think that is really, really important.
Yeah.
100%. I fully agree with that. You've got to be, and you know what's interesting is I think it's in June. There's again another abbreviation. It's something like an IT risk mitigation and something governance plan or something. I think that is going to be due in June, and already I think that one is FSCA, not specific FIC. That one is already incorporating the EU Act, and I believe the AI Act, which is now incorporated in the EU, is going to be signed into effect in South Africa. So you're going to have to take into consideration where you work and see it as an environmental analysis. I'm always confused between micro and macro, but that one that looks at the economy and the environment outside, okay, do that. Go and do your market research, and that is where ChatGPT or Copilot or whichever one you prefer, that's where it can play a role. But I once had, I don't think I should mention names, not Copilot or ChatGPT, it was another one, actually told me when I did market research, he told me that the company has closed. Which if I ever told that to the client, I would have looked so stupid. Luckily, we phoned and said that we're doing research on that specific industry. And we're asking, and then if the answer is no, you're not closed, then take note that that is what we found using AI to do a search. And they were very happy. I got even a written thank you from them, because something somewhere, a word was picked up, and that's the result that came back.
Yeah.
You know, when I was at university, well, my takeaway from having done a fancy master's, apart from like 30 years later, I started using the algorithms in machine learning, was the professor always said, whatever I tell you, you cannot believe it. Go to the library, go and find the reference books, and go and check it. So what did I learn? Don't believe anything, verify it, and go and look for that information.
Yeah.
So those are my two takeaways: is don't believe, verify, go and look, and know how to look, and then apply. And
Yeah.
yes, I see a question here about why. Absolutely. The manager says, I want this. Yes, say why. But do it in a
What?
nice way. You're not be nice about it. Be diplomatic.
And also just
So that I can make sure that I give you the correct information. Be diplomatic about it.
yeah.
And
And it's also ethical as well, because you can't just take, I guess, anything and assume that it's the right thing. You still need to apply the human factor, the ethics, and also just probe, I guess, onto the data that you're looking at, because the quality, is it right? Is the output correct? Like in your scenario that you gave, you've preserved yourself, your reputation, because you took the extra step to also look into, actually, is this company closed or is it not? And those are the types of things that you can't really teach to a person. You just have to have it, to just go the extra mile to confirm stuff.
I think it's a matter of having can I use the word, a questioning mind? Just go to another source. And yeah, and if it means going to the actual source, then do that. So you see, another thing is, which you mentioned ethics. If you're talking about your corporates, that's not using a chat GPT, okay? They programming their own systems. So once again, ethics need to be programmed in all those fancy algorithms and whatevers. Ethics also need to be programmed. To give you an example, what I'm maybe referring to, I once said to ChatGPT, and yes, I really enjoy it for technical support. I said to it, I think I used the word, in your opinion, which were the 10 best performing equity unit trusts in South Africa. And it was physically to do with the words. I think I said, in your opinion. It actually flashed onto the screen and then it vanished. And then it said, I am a large language model, first time ever. I'm a large language model and I cannot give my opinion.
Oh wow! Which means somebody flipped it. Yeah.
Yeah, but we're also talking about look, it's an algorithm, or a big algorithm running on a lot of data very fast. And how do they do it? They take a portion of the data and they do training, and then they apply it to 100% of the data. That's basically what it boils down to. Plenty fancy coding languages and whatevers. Once I asked it to assist me with some Python code, and it kept on coming back and say something about the error retry. And I eventually, it was about third or fourth time, I stopped it. And I said, what is your problem? Or sorry, I'm always very polite. Can you explain to me what the problem is?
Yeah.
And it came back and it said, I am battling, it's used these words, I will never forget. I'm battling with a bracket in the code.
And these are real life issues, and I think they do pose risks in businesses as well, right? What would you say are some of the biggest risks? I think, having said what we said, of not having governance strategies, and if for businesses that are starting to adopt the usages of your co-pilots or other AI alternatives, what should they sort of, I guess, have in place to mitigate, or what are the risks of just not having some governance strategies?
Ethics, um, for whatever reason, Bob goes crazy and shares client information. I believe there's something like that that's now with hacking, so firewalls. So, you know, data governance, what is it? It's about it's quality of data, access to data, ownership of data, and usage of data. That to me is, in a nutshell, what data governance is about. And
Yeah.
those to me are the areas that, and especially sensitive info, it could be company info, it could be client info. It's the protection and the policies that regulate all of this. So it's all those, like my RMCP, okay, it's all, it's those type of policies that the companies need to develop to protect their data as well as that of their clients or their suppliers.
Hmm.
I think
So
that's key. Yeah,
it's
I think
about
that's key because
protection.
accountability is a big thing, and we see a lot in how the data is harvested and governed. That you need to have a strong framework to be able to hold yourself accountable, and to do that, really you have to go deep in making sure that the data is accurate. You can't just rely on a system to do that for you. Because at the end of the day, it's a system that it's a piece of code that was written. A lot has gone through, in it. But for security purposes, for consistency as well, you need the most accurate backup of data that you need, that you can get, and you are ultimately the person who's accountable for that. So I support your view that we need that accountability. You need to understand that you are responsible for that data, and you need to back that up. And the accuracy and the security behind that is very, very important.
Correct. And then I want to add something which people maybe don't add under data governance. I'm saying staff training. Because they also need to be taught what is ethical and safe use of data.
Yeah.
And you cannot just say don't use it. They're starting to use tools that can automatically analyze, clean, collect data, but they need to make sure that it's used in a safe way. So yes, to me, always education, training, education.
Yeah. And I guess it comes with change management as well. I just have a comment from Henriette. I hope I said your name right. It's that another important focus is on asking why we are collecting the data, not just collect the data or create a report to just have a report. There needs to be a purpose. So I think, and as business analysts or any profession, in fact, that works to data is understand why you are collecting and maybe your sources as well, because you don't want to just be collecting data from anywhere where you can source that data as well. So just probe the why you're collecting it, where you're collecting it as well. And I think just with this comment in mind, leading us to the future directions of data analytics and where we are going, how AI models are now improving predictive analytics, and how automation is reducing the human biasness in decision making. What skills do you think a professional should develop to stay relevant in the data analytics field?
That's a leading question. Let me be very, I don't know what's the word, correct in what I'm saying. Personal opinion here. You need to be an advanced user of Excel before you start going into the Power BI's tableaus. So my sequence, my preference is actually Excel, SQL, Power BI, and yes, nowadays Python is crept into Excel. You've got, but you know, VBA I don't really use. There are other methods to bypass that one because that one is like Greek. But you can use Python in Power BI. You can use it inside Excel nowadays. So yes, Python. To me, the most important thing is for you to not be able to necessarily code, because I can always ask a Copilot or a ChatGPT, help me with this formula. You still need to know that it's correct and go and apply it. When a data analyst gives you a result, you need to know that they should have used, and I'm grabbing names here, they should have used a Monte Carlo simulation instead of linear regression, or the other way around, and why not? So I'm saying you don't have to be a coder all the time because you've got the tools like the LLMs that can assist with this, your GitHub Copilots, so yes, but you need to me, Excel is the starting point.
Yeah.
And you need to be able to end whatever you do, collect, clean. I'm back to my who, what, where, why, when. Okay.
Yes.
And data, information, knowledge, wisdom. That picture, that interactive dashboard, that real time updating, that to me is where you should be aiming for, and always know how to verify inputs.
Yeah. And just thinking of that, if one feels they are short of skills for all these things, because some of this information, you can't really dissect it under one session. Do you maybe have recommendations, I guess, on how to skill up just to stay ahead of the curve?
Well, there are many options. It depends to what level. You can enroll in courses, self-paced, in person. Depending on your level, there's plenty on YouTube. There's the BA Lab. So what I'm saying is, I've actually got it's small business, but I've got a client. It's online training, and she would have the corporate saying to her, "We are looking for 5 people, and these are the skills." She then takes university final year students. They've just qualified. She takes them and she teaches them like all the Microsoft products. Soft skills is a very popular one. And then say, okay, Mr. Big Company, here are the 5 people, I've trained them for you. So you're going to have to just have that curiosity to keep on learning. But yes, don't start with Python. You'll run away.
Excel, guys. Start with Excel.
Excel is powerful. Don't laugh at it. Excel is powerful. The only restriction on Excel is if your data set becomes too big, you either cannot load it, which means you need to do connections, and it slows everything down. That is why you start moving into the other types of systems. And but yeah, I mean, AI to me cannot send personalized emails to your clients, but it can definitely be collecting or assist with formulations or, those type of things. It's a very competent assistant.
100%.
I see
Henriette is saying that it's not my strength really, but how can I manage? And as you were saying, I mean, we have a 12-week mentorship program, and part of that program entails data analytics and then being able to learn those kind of strategies on how to analyze data and how to use it effectively, as well as partnering it with your AI tools, making sure that it's accurate and having the accountability as a BA to be able to use it accurately. And you were talking about the soft skills that you teach your students, for your clients. And I think that those are important things that can be ignored sometimes, that the incorporation of those elements with the skills that are needed to be able to analyze the data, because the data is just data, but analyzing the data and incorporating it with personality and those skills makes a huge difference. And that it makes the delivery of the product much more sophisticated than what you'd get if you just know the analysis part.
Absolutely. And the BA Lab has got the data literacy course, the data literacy fundamentals course. And I believe data analytics in Excel is coming soon.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, I see. She's also saying that my company made great training content in the format of a micro series of episodes of a couple of minutes, specifically to teach the importance of data security. It was a great way to get the message across the whole organization. And I think we undermine sometimes the security part of it. That it's the security people who understand security, but it's also important to make sure that everybody across the organization understands why there needs to be security around the data. We talked a lot about security, but the education around why it's important to protect the data needs to be delivered across the organization, not just because you go across and people just willy-nilly use data without understanding that them being in possession of it makes them accountable, but it's because the education isn't there. So I think it's the organizations need to understand as well that they have a responsibility to educate the accountability part, so that people understand why it needs to be secure.
Absolutely. I mean, it's like you asking me to fix the washing machine and I managed to blow it up because you never taught me how to do it.
Definitely.
Okay, that was the first thing that came to mind.
Yeah, it's like expecting a lot from me without teaching me much. I can understand that, really.
Yeah.
It's
And
Okay,
I think it's
sorry,
one of the mistakes that, yeah.
I just want to say, and after Easter, I think we'll be ready for a applied data analysis course, which will be in person, and practice along so that you can experience and remember. While
and also
it's
to take away the overwhelm as well, right, Liana? Because it's different to learn the theory. I mean, we don't even always remember that, but in practice, it's better.
absolutely. When I was at university, I had applied mathematics and I had mathematics. Mathematics was terrible. It was algebra. It was so theoretical. Still today, apart from the algorithms, I don't know where to apply it. Whereas applied mathematics, we actually had to calculate when you stop at the stop street, how long do you actually stop? Or if you just slow down and do that comparison. Now, doesn't that make more sense?
No, definitely it does. And I mean, I just want to go back to some of the mistakes that companies make when using data analytics, and how organizations can really encourage data-driven decision makings on all levels when we use these different tools, and what skills professionals should develop to stay relevant in the data analysis field. And I think that what is relevant, I know we talked about the 12-week mentorship program, but I also want to touch on the symposium that is going to be happening on the 12th of April. And you will understand then, because there's going to be a range of speakers there, that the professionals in the BA field really use this on a daily basis. And because they do that, there is an understanding of how to incorporate the skills that you have as a BA along with the tools to be able to come up with the best results possible for the business and for the client. And I think it's important for people, especially people who are starting to use data analysis, to understand how to incorporate the tool.
People are, to some extent, analyzing, but I don't think they using the results or really looking at it or interpreting it. Because when you do your books at the end of the month, you're doing accounting, you're working with numbers, but what are you actually seeing there? So I think sometimes it's a matter of it's being done, maybe not to the proper extent, but because it's not being converted to a story, it's not being used. But I 100% agree. Keep on learning. Be curious, keep on learning. It's fun. These things are fun. Make them fun. Yeah. Apply it when you go shopping. Forget about the theory. Just apply the theory.
Exactly. I think, and there's opportunity to apply it everywhere. And with that said, I think we can go on a lot. This is a big topic. It's literally our way of life, whether we are aware of it or not. Somehow we interact with the data as we feed it and whatnot. And I think if anyone is interested in knowing more, please check our website. We have a lot of courses that talk to data. We have the mentorship program, AB mentioned it, and we have the big one where like-minded people are in one room and we discuss these things. And we would also like for you to join us and have these conversations, like how now we've had a power session, just having you guys also collaborate and helping the bigger community to learn. And with that said, we have had a wonderful evening with you. And Liana, thank you so much for joining us tonight.
Thank you for having me, and keep on asking why and keep on telling stories. I think that's my takeaway. But thank you for having me. It was fun.
Thank you. And have a good evening, guys.
Stay connected with us and keep the conversation going. Follow us on social media for the latest updates, news, and more opportunities to connect. Or visit our website at www.theBALab.com to explore more resources, register as a member, and engage with like-minded individuals in our growing community. Thank you for joining us for the Power Connect webinar. We hope you found this session insightful. Until next time, keep powering your connections, and thank you for being part of our community.